really recite the Airman's Creed?
What did you think about the Air Force fitness program?
What do you think about the state of the economy? What do you know about this week's roll call?
Have you ever heard of the saying, first impressions are lasting impressions? Edwards Air Force Base is resurrecting a familiar tradition for early promotion to senior airmen below the zone, military face-to-face boards. Airmen eligible for promotion to senior airmen below the zone will be required to meet the board. Military face-to-face boards will place emphasis on instilling military customs and courtesies. Additionally, face-to-face boards allow junior members the opportunity to improve professionalism, communication, dress and appearance, and build confidence. Are you ready to meet the board? One of the most important aspects to prepare for the board is supervisory involvement. A supervisor's personal involvement is essential and begins well in advance of the board. An involved supervisor will check your uniform appearance well in advance of the board and again the morning of. Supervisors should be sure to have a copy of the member's virtual MPF RIP to confirm devices, ribbons, and badges. Have several people inspect your uniform for accuracy and proper fit. They may notice something your supervisor has missed. Airmen meeting the board can expect to answer questions from current events. Be sure to keep up with the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force's Airman's Roll Call, current public news and public events, current Air Force news and Air Force events, and be sure to know the Airman's Creed and the 5 Air Force priorities. The supervisor should work closely to build the confidence of his or her airmen. Determine the location of the board and do a pre-visit to the area where the board will be held to familiarize yourself with your surroundings. When you open the door, take a good look at the room. Look for the chair you will be sitting in. Practice marching routes where the chair should be placed. March by the most direct route to position yourself in the front of the chair facing the board president. Do not stop and perform a facing movement. Stop in place. Save the facing movement for your departure.
Enter.
After reporting, the board president will ask you to be seated. Be sure to sit in the middle of the chair and remain seated at the position of attention with your hands on your thighs. The idea is to be straight and alert, but not rigid. Never slouch or recline. Even though the chairperson may tell you to relax, do not cross your legs. Throughout the interview, board members will be inspecting your uniform with emphasis on minor things such as frayed insignia and unbuttoned pockets. Make sure your uniform is clean, fits correctly, and is well pressed. Also ensure that patches and stripes are sewn on properly and that your devices and name tag are authorized and correctly positioned on the uniform.
Good morning, Airman Edward, and welcome to the Team Edwards Below the Zone Board. I'm Chief Master Sergeant Eric Jaron, President of the Board. Before we get started, let me introduce the other board members. To my far right, Master Sergeant Folsom, the First Sergeant from the 31st Test and Evaluation Squadron.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
To my immediate right, Chief Master Sergeant Dixon, the Superintendent of the 412th Maintenance Group.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
To my immediate left, Chief Master Sergeant Hollis, the Superintendent of the 95th Mission Support Group.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And to my far left, Master Sergeant Giese, the Superintendent of the 412th Test Wing.
Good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
I want to congratulate you on your nomination for the Below the Zone. The agenda for today's board will have 3 parts. The first part will be you having the opportunity to introduce yourself. Then we'll go on to the direct questioning portion of the board. And finally, we'll give you the opportunity to make closing comments. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Please introduce yourself.
When the board president is finished with opening remarks, the candidate will be asked to make an introduction. The basic introduction has 4 parts. The first part is a brief personal description. The second part, a brief career description. The third part is a brief description of family, hobbies, interests, or base involvement. And finally, a brief mention of your career or personal goals. Remember, you don't want your introduction to be too long or too short.
My name is Airman First Class Bernice Edward. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida. I have 2 older sisters and 1 younger brother who is also part of the Air Force. I
Be
joined
sure
the
to
Air Force
address the
get
board
hands-on
members
experience
by
in the
their
career field
title
of my
or
choice,
with
which is
whatever
mental health.
salutation is
I currently
appropriate.
work in the 95th
When
Floor
answering
Group,
questions,
Mental Health
do
Clinic.
not turn your
I am
body.
involved with Defy,
Turn your head
which is
toward the
drug
person
education for
asking the
youth, where I
question
mentor 3
and then
little
look
girls
at all of
ages
the
9
board
through
members
12.
when giving your
My
answer.
career goals is for me to earn my master's degree and use it as a foundation to become a commissioned officer in the Air Force.
Thank you, Airman Edward. Now we will begin the direct questioning portion of the board. Each board member will ask you one opinionated question. There are no right or wrong answers. This will simply allow us to get to know you a little bit better. The first question will begin with Master Sergeant Folsom on my right.
Airman Edward, good morning. Congratulations on your nomination to meet the Below the Zone Board. I have one question for you about the Airman's Creed. What is your favorite line in the Airman's Creed and why?
Sir, my favorite
Do not
line in the
mumble
Airman's
or
Creed
begin
would be
your
in the second
reply
stanza.
with
It states, "I am
oh,
faithful
I
to a
think,
proud
or I
heritage."
believe.
This line
This
exemplifies
indicates
the way I feel about
indecisiveness.
being part of the Air
Lastly,
Force. I'm truly
remember,
honored to be
good
part
eye
of the Air Force
contact is
traditions
very
and the
important.
legacy it holds.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your selection to meet this board. Would you share with us some of your thoughts on one of the Air Force's educational opportunities?
Chief, my thoughts on the education.
A good technique to stay on track is to repeat the question when you give your answer. Do your best not to show nervousness and listen very carefully to questions being directed at you.
Thank you.
Great answer so far. Airman Edward, now tell me about one topic from a recent Airman's Roll Call.
Chief, may I return to that question?
Certainly.
Airman Edward, congratulations and welcome to the board. Will you please share your thoughts on the recent changes to the Air Force fitness program?
Never say I'm sorry. If you do not know an answer, simply say you do not know the answer. If you do not understand the question, ask the board member to please repeat or rephrase it. Do not lose your bearing or become frustrated because you don't answer a question very well. And definitely never try to fake an answer.
Thank you.
This concludes the direct questioning portion of the board. Before you're dismissed, we'd like to give you the opportunity to make any closing comments.
At the end of the board, the president will ask you if you have any comments. This is when you would go back to complete any unfinished questions.
Sir, I would like to return to Chief's question. One recent topic that was discussed in the Airman's Roll Call was the 101 critical days of summer.
This
In
time
article,
also
airmen
offers
were
you the
asked to be
chance to
cautious
thank the
on
board
alcohol
members for their
awareness,
time and
traffic
add any other
safety,
comments that
fatigue,
may be
and drowning
appropriate.
prevention. Now I would like to take the time out to thank each of you for allowing me the time to meet the board.
Thank you, Airman Edward. I can't say whether or not you've earned an early promotion today, but the very fact you're here means your entire chain of command thinks you're doing an outstanding job. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you for your contributions to the 95th Medical Group and to Team Edwards. Airman Edward, you are dismissed.
Come to attention in front of the board president. If the president is an officer, render a hand salute to the president of the board and hold your salute until it has been returned. If the president is enlisted, nod your head once and wait until the gesture is returned before departing the room. You have heard the saying that first impressions are lasting impressions. Also remember that the board wants to know you. You must believe that you are worthy of early promotion and that you are a winner. Someone else believed it. That is why they took the time to nominate you. So, are you ready to meet the board?